So I was whining to my wife the other day, said, I need new glasses. And she said, well, get some. I couldn't tighten them anymore. They were scratched. You know the thing, right? But I didn't want to go through the process because you have to make the appointment. You have to spend weeks to get them done. And you got to pay a fortune, right? That's real. But I did. I spent $500 on frames and glasses, and that was cheap. And then I ordered a pair from my sponsor, Zenni Optical, for $70. Zenni is an online eyewear shop. Prescription glasses, sunglasses, blue light lenses, starting at under $30. You go to Zenni.com, you pick a frame, upload your prescription, and they ship it to your door. No appointment, no store, no upsell at the counter. And by the way, if you are saying, do I really need new glasses, or do I have to put up with one pair to do everything I need to do for the next 2 years? No! You can get what you want starting at under $30. And if you've never bought glasses online, don't worry about it. I haven't either. Zenni has a virtual try-on, so you can see exactly how the frame looks before you commit to buying them, with no salesman looking at you saying, those look good, but these expensive ones would look better. No, you don't get that. I'm excited. I can't wait to get my Zenni glasses and tell you more about them. If your glasses are overdue for a refresh, now's the time. Go to Zenni.com/podcast and use the code podcast15 for 15% off your first order. The styles sell out, so don't sit on it. That's Zenni.com/podcast. Promo code podcast15. You might have heard that live shopping is exploding, and I have to tell you, I have been on Whatnot for a couple of weeks now, and I see why it is. Now, Whatnot is my sponsor, and they are the reason I got on the platform and checked it out. I'm glad they did. They made it easy for me. I'm going to make it easy for you. I love it. Whatnot is where you get great products without paying full price. It's that simple. I'm hooked on their live shows, too. You got to see them. They're so much fun. And I see why Whatnot has climbed to the top of the App Store. And listen, if you're selling online, or maybe you have a storefront and you're hoping people will find your listing or maybe walk in your store, Whatnot flips that, because on Whatnot, you go live and you sell directly to people in real time. And I may admit, although you didn't hear from me, I may have picked up a couple of power tools or so in the past couple of days. I'm just saying. Whatnot, it's the largest dedicated live shopping platform with beauty, collectibles, electronics, luxury, fashion, even cookies, and anyone can sell. In fact, people who sell on Whatnot sell 10 times as much as any other major marketplace. That's because you're not just listing products, you're building real connections with buyers. So whether you're shopping or you're selling, download the Whatnot app today and get free shipping on your first order. Just search WHATNOT, Whatnot, in the App Store and start scoring amazing deals. It is the happiest time of the year. So much abundance out there right now, huh? And throughout the course of the year, a lot of people choose to live in an abundant state of mind and others a scarce state of mind. Is it working for you? We'll talk about that today.
I need a boost. I need a daily boost. I need a boost. I need a daily boost.
It is the Daily Boost. My name is Scott Smith. Good to have you here today. Come on in. Let's have some fun. Can you believe it's been 20 years? 20 years since we started this podcast. So few podcasts back then and so many now, but man, 20 years ago, and we begin the 20th season, 19 years ago, I should say, begin the 20th season on January 1st. And I've had people ask me over time, they said, Scott, was that some big master plan? That you'll start at the first of the year, a big year goal, get going, start your podcast. And it makes sense, it would be, but nope, it wasn't that fancy. I'd actually been doing the Daily Boost for about a year, just on a Monday, though, which made no sense at all. It was just one day a week, but we called it the Daily Boost. And eventually I decided to go to 5 days a week and just go broader with it. But about the time I did that, nearly to the week that I started that, my first wife got a terminal cancer diagnosis. Well, life got kind of crazy for a while. And on December 6th, she passed away. Now, I didn't do the Daily Boost podcast while that was going on. I just couldn't do it, not 5 days a week. I grieved. I took a couple of weeks off. And being me, I lifted my head up and said, well, what am I going to do now? Guess I can go back to the Daily Boost thing. May as well start on January 1st. And that's what I did. And here it is. So there you know. Now you have the backstory. So let's dig in a little bit today, huh? Something about, you hear this often, living in an abundant state of mind or living with a scarcity state of mind. I think a lot of people don't know what that means. But when I talk about, like a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about the law of attraction. It should be the law of what you think about most. It's kind of the same thing. If you're thinking life is just abundant and there's all kinds of abundance for you, it's just never ending, then you're probably going to have that. If you're running around thinking, it's kind of scarce, there's not enough for me, I'm not getting what I want, it's a zero-sum game, you're probably going to get that. Something to think about, right? I think a lot, by the way. In fact, that's one of the things that it's a personality trait that I have that does not always serve me well. Although in the business I'm in these days, I spend a lot of time thinking, and it does serve me. But man, I tell you what, sometimes I try to get rid of it because I'm such a thinker. Think. I ponder things like abundance and scarcity. Do you do that? I take my time. And I know my path before I ever get to it. I just think it through. I lock things in. I hold on to what works. I'm like a pitbull with a ribeye. I hold on. The favor iteration, but it gets in the way of bigger change. Wait a second. So I hang on to things. It becomes scarcity, doesn't it? Hey, literally, if I'm out there thinking anything is possible, I want to create whatever I want to create, and yet I hang on like a pit bull to what I got, what is that stopping? And let me ask you that question too. Let's just put it out there right now. I know you work hard for lots of things. Are you hanging on so tight you can't get what's really out there waiting for you? You can't sunset what you've been doing for so long? You can't complete it and put it away? You're just hanging on in favor of an iteration. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get more abundance, and yet nothing changes. The significant big change, the big stuff you want is not there because you're kind of basically living in scarcity. Now, it's entirely possible that you could see it as a good trait that you're doing right now, right? After all, it's the rituals of life that make life good. You're right. Still, going for big stuff takes a big commitment, and it takes a bit of confidence. Now, I'll let you define what big stuff is. Big is different for everybody. It takes a bit of risk tolerance. That's scary, isn't it? And maybe a couple glasses of wine. Just depends on what you're trying to do. You might also have to release your safety blanket because it can hold you back. It all comes down to scarcity. Now, this is kind of one of these little hidden things. I like to call it between the lines coaching. It's a place where something's about to happen. There's kind of a threshold going on, if you will. A lot of people that I work with all the time are kind of in that little in-between place where they're hanging on to what they got long enough to see if they can get what they want. And so I live in that space every day with every single client I have, and I see it all the time. So a few days ago, I was thinking about this. I was pondering it deeper than I ought to, and probably way before I was ready to actually bring it up to anybody. I decided to bring it up to some of my clients. I wanted to ask them a question. I wanted to see where they were. I wanted to kind of give them a little check, something to think about. It's kind of what I get paid for. If you listen to me today, you're going to hear me bring things up that is going to have you thinking a little bit. And I count that as a privilege that you would listen to me and I could get you thinking. It's what I do. But a few days ago, I reached out to my clients and I had one very simple question. So let me ask that simple question to you right now and see what your answer will be. I can't hear it, but I'll read your mind. How's that? Here's a question. How do you define scarcity?
We gather here tonight to bring women back to their rightful place.
The Testaments, a new Hulu original series from the executive producers of The Handmaid's Tale.
It's easier to accept a story than believe that the people around you are monsters.
The battle isn't over.
There comes a time when you have to take action, when you have to choose your own destiny.
Never quite as it seems.
Watch the new Hulu original series, The Testaments, streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply.
How do you define scarcity? Have you ever thought about it? My guess is you're running around every single day not thinking about it. You're just kind of running scared from it. How do you define it? It can sneak up on you sometimes. You don't even know it. Sometimes you feel like you have a full, abundant life, and yet you don't. So predictably, most of the people I talked to, and this was a pretty good-sized group, most described it as not having enough of what they wanted. That was their conscious description. They also described abundance as having more of what they wanted. That makes sense, right? A scarcity is less of what I want and abundance is more of what I want, right? But that's when I kind of twisted their minds a little bit. I asked another question. I said, is it possible that holding on to what you have keeps you from getting more? In other words, your fear you'll end up with less is holding you back. Now, this is one of those moments when I'm working a coaching call and I have a bunch of people on the Zoom screen and they all start taking notes. If they don't take notes, they lean back and you just see in their face they're thinking now. That's why they show up on the calls. They show up because I'm going to make them think a little bit. Is it possible that holding on to what you have keeps you from getting more? In other words, you fear you'll end up with less. The answer is yes. What if the only requirement for getting what you want is to let go of what you have now? What if your path to success opens up the minute you release? What if you have to complete something? What if you're iterating? What if you have a lifetime worth of work? And you're like, well, I can't give that up. I've got to keep it going, keep iterating it, and making. What if it's not working for you? What if it requires to be completed and signed and sealed and put over there? You don't lose all the work you've done. You don't lose the knowledge. You don't lose the IP. You don't lose any of that stuff. It's just not active in your life anymore. It's become something else. What if you just had to give up something that you didn't think you wanted to give up, but you know you need to anyway? Listen, we're coming into 2026. This is the time of the year we start thinking about this. Whatever you want in life, whatever you want to build, you get there faster and quicker when you finally just get rid of all the stuff in your way, like 80% of it, and say, let me put it over there. It doesn't mean close it up. That doesn't mean have to take a year cleaning it up and getting, no. It just means let it sit and go do something else. I didn't wait for an answer. They instantly transformed their mindset. And I realized it was time to step up. They realized it was time to step up. So here's the thing about this kind of change. And you need to understand this if you haven't done this before, because a lot of times in the world we live in today, and I push back on this a lot, because in the coaching world, the consulting world, the advising world that I do, it's really common to promise the outcome. Yeah, what can I get in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Tell me how fast I can get it. I want to tell you something right now, and you're not going to like this answer, so listen real closely. When you're in a threshold like this, when you're kind of in between, you're trying to move from one thing to the other, time is your friend. It takes more time than you think. I've seen it so many times, time and time again. Look, I'm working the time thing, aren't I? People come in expecting an instantaneous result, and what happens is they realize, no, it takes time to marinate. It takes time to get a new idea, to kind of think about it a little bit, and then little by little over time, you begin to change and go in a new direction. And it's frustrating, I get it. But you know, every day you move a little closer to what you want to do, that abundance you really want in your life, and it only happens when you just give up on the scarcity and just kind of let go. But that takes time, I'm telling you. Yes, it can happen instantaneously. Some things do. But for the most part, in this kind of thing, I'm telling you, you just got to come marinate it a little bit and keep moving in that direction. Something to think about today, okay? I hope you do. Coaching, open up soon. I am looking for a couple of brand new clients into 2026. Get a head start. Got some prizes for you too. And some surprises. Scott@motivationtomove.com. Let me know you're interested.